Good morning. Let me see. Let me do the banner. I hope all is well. All right. Good morning, beautiful people. Let me see. Comments. Invite. Copy. All right. So, what is this one showing? Okay. 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 All right. Good morning. And I decided we are going to do the book of Daniel today. So we're going to say a little prayer beforehand, and then I'm going to read it aloud. Yes, I am. Read it aloud. Okay. I hope everybody finished their studies last week, or last week with Job, or Job. Like God was telling us back then, we're gonna have a job. You know what I mean? All right. So I'm gonna say a little prayer, and then we're gonna get started. I had it bookmarked. Daniel. See now it's fine. Oh, I took it out, but my daughter made me this nice little bookmark thing. But then I got one with my son. I got a couple of them. Anyway, sons are a beautiful thing. Daughters are too. And the more we nurture their soul, the better. All right. So I'm going to say a little prayer, and then we're going to get started. Lord, thank you, Heavenly Father, for being in our lives and waking us up this morning. And hopefully every morning thereafter, bless us to do right by you as we try to through you. Bless our families, those we love and those that we do not know. In Jesus' name, we love ourselves like you love us. Amen. And so, and like I also want to just point out, talking to God, it doesn't have to be any type of like formal training or a a certain type of verbiage, just a matter of just being honest. So, and you want to go through him, just in pure, just being pure yourself, nobody else. So, and he responds better in that way. So, the book of Daniel. So I'm going to read because I don't have my Bible app, and this is what I want to show y'all. I use the Bible app. It's they have some, with the speaker by it. They have some that I guess people have spoken, and you can do it on speaker. And other chapters, are not. So Daniel is not. So I'm gonna have to read. And I'm like, every time I get on here, my nose get little. I gotta look that up. Anybody can find out what it means when your nose itch. And please don't say that because your nose dirty. No, never that. I got OC. I'm the cleanest person you ever know. It's just that on here, I get my nose start itching. I think it's a sign. Like, God here, nothing. He be like, hey, I'm with you. Let's get it. And that's thinking positives. You know what I'm saying? You think negative, your whole day could be fucked up thinking negative. That's why I was talking to my kids. I was like, my daughter was in the room, and man, because outside these California wildfires and all of this shit going on. And, she ran in the room. She's like, we got to have a to-go bag. She packing all her, her little backpack clothes. She got her little toys, and then she got the snacks. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Now, it was cute, but now you packing groceries and shit. Like, what's going on? And she's like, Ma, I'm packing for the zombie apocalypse. Whatever. She said something else too, but I forgot. And I was like, babe, you got to think positive, have faith that, God ain't going to put you through nothing you can't handle. So, you up here thinking that, the zombie apocalypse going, it's not coming, baby. I know there's fires going on. This is normal for Cali, but this year is not normal. Like, it's just burning like ridiculous. So and there's no zombie apocalypse, and best believe God gonna get us up out of here if we get too close. He'll let us know. He gonna send a sign. So you just gotta have faith, and that's with everything. Like, like my son is with his father, just having faith that it's gonna go right. Despite me and him not being together, just having faith in, like, I can't sit here and be on the phone being like, you making sure he washes his ass. No, you just gotta have faith that he's gonna see everything through. So once you give it to him, you have to give it to him, and then, because then faith then becomes in question. Like, you don't think God can handle it? He up there talking about, look, I made you, you know what I'm saying? So you don't think I can handle it? Of course, you better get it together, So I just want to say this, like, anything or any burdens or anything, like, going through, whether it's depression, whatever, give it to God. You don't have to drop to your knees and, just give it to him, sit and just talk about it, talk it all out. If you got to write it all out and then say it and speak it, just speak it into the universe and live like that. That's what anything with weight, confidence, loving yourself, any aspiration that you feel you need to, that you're lacking in, speak it out. And slowly over time, maybe it might happen immediately. God moves as he sees fit. So you just got to understand that whatever he has for you is for you. And he went through things, so why you feel like you're not, worthy of being a part or being, attacked, Hey, good morning, Lisha. So you shouldn't feel like, you're off limits. And it's not no time frame. You can continue. Oh, please. Not look, Jesus is, you see the rainbow? So we you praise. If you feel like he's white, then that's your distance, but you don't have to push anybody's I guess beliefs on others. All we're here to do is to prophesize and to speak about what's going on in regards to, the book that was written. So, and there's several different adaptations, but if you feel like he's white, then let him be your white Jesus, okay? If you feel like he's black, let him be your black Jesus. If you feel like he's Asian, long as you have, it's a higher being and you're spiritual. He's not, asking you to, be specific, but make sure you read the Bible, because there are chapters in here that explain how he looks. So let's just be clear on that. All right. Just because you feel like he's white because somebody showed you a picture and you're riding with that, make sure that you're clear on who and what that is representing, especially if you of color, because that can also cause, like even with children, to feel like, no relatability, like why he has to be just white, why, am I not worthy, and is white only pure? No, we're gonna sit up here and say that he's white Jesus. He's your father, you know what I'm saying? Your father is a mixture of all of us, So, but if you feel comfortable with him being white to you, let that be in your home. But don't put your beliefs off on everybody. We're just here to humble ourselves, help each other, and love one another. That's what we're here to do. Okay, and not bash each other because we got enough of that on this land that we call Earth. All right. So I'm gonna get started. The book of Daniel, and we're gonna keep it moving. Chapter 1. During the third year that I already went over these names. All right. Jehoiakim was king of Judah. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and surrounded it with his army. The Lord allowed Nebuchadnezzar to capture Jehoiakim, king of Judah. Nebuchadnezzar also took some of the kings from the temple of God. Took some of the things from the temple of God, which he carried to Babylonia and put in the temple of his gods. Then King Nebuchadnezzar ordered Ashpenaz, his chief officer, to bring some of the Israelite men into his place. He wanted them to be from important families, including the family of the king of Judah. King Nebuchadnezzar wanted only young Israelite men who had nothing wrong with them. They were to be handsome, well educated, capable of learning and understanding, and able to serve in his palace. Ashpenaz was to teach them the language and writings of the Babylonians. The king gave the young men a certain amount of food and wine every day, just like the food he ate. The young men were to be trained for 3 years, and then they would become servants of the king of Babylon. Among those young men were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah from the people of Judah. Ashpenaz, the chief officer, gave them Babylonian names. Daniel's new name was what? Belshazzar. All right, Daniel was a better, but okay. His new name was Belshazzar. Hananiah's was Shadrach. Mishael's was Meshach, and Azariah's was Abednego. Okay, look. All right. Daniel decided not to eat the king's food or drink his wine because that would make him unclean. So he asked Ashpenaz for permission not to make himself unclean in this way. God made Ashpenaz, the chief officer, want to be kind and merciful to Daniel. But Ashpenaz said to Daniel, I am afraid of my master, the king. He ordered me to give you this food and drink. If you begin to look worse than other young men your age, the king will see this. Then he will cut off my head because of you. All right, so we got the names down. All right, 111. Ashpenaz had ordered a guard to watch Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Daniel said to the guard, please give us this test for 10 days. Don't give us anything but vegetables to eat and water to drink. After 10 days, compare how we look with how the other young men look who eat the king's food. See for yourself and then decide how you want to treat us, your servants. So the guard agreed to test them for 10 days. After 10 days, they looked healthier and better fed than all of the young men who ate the king's food. I'll be thinking about like when people are, put things in people's food, to keep them, all of these like roots and all of that. And it's like they were doing that back in the day, trying to oppress, because it's all about oppression when you got to poison or, put things into, people's food in order to get the outcome you desire, instead of, just knowing or being aware that you are to be desired. You shouldn't have to chase. Everybody on this earth is meant to be with somebody. But when you take advantage or you take certain initiatives that's not right, it can become, this rat race, for what you think how this should go, or you controlling your destiny when you have a set purpose and you just got off your purpose because you felt that, oh, okay, I'm comfortable in this destiny right here and I'm going to secure it by any means. When that ain't how you're supposed to live life. Your focus shouldn't be on either securing a man or securing a job or, Your life is supposed to be, let go, let God, and let things flow. Whatever you feel, you do things that make you happy. You don't want to be in situations, because some people stay in jobs for like years, and they know they're not happy, and they're not fulfilled, but yet they feel like this is what I have to do because this is what's bringing me the coin or my desired lifestyle. But why are you still not happy? We say that about the rich, poor, all of that. All right, so the king talked to them and found that not one of them, I'm sorry, chapter 117. God gave these four young men wisdom and the ability to learn many things that people have written and studied. Okay, let me go back. I'm sorry, 116. So the guard took away the king's special food and wine, feeding them vegetables instead. God gave these four young men wisdom and the ability to learn many things that people have written and studied. Daniel could also understand visions and dreams. At the end of the time set for them by the king, Ashpenaz brought all the young men to King Nebuchadnezzar. The king talked to them and found that none of the young men were as good as Daniel, Hananiah, why I can't get that name, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azrael. So these four young men became the king's servants. Every time the king asked them about something important, they showed much wisdom and understanding. They were 10 times better than all of the fortune tellers and magicians in this kingdom. So Daniel continued to be the king's servant until the first year Cyrus was king. Why didn't God want Adam and Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge? It's not that he didn't want them to eat from the kingdom of knowledge. It's he didn't tell them to. He told them to stay away, just like you tell your kids to do something. You don't need an explanation. It's like you already know why. You already know the outcome. If I tell you not to touch the damn stove, I don't need to tell you why. I already know why. That's why I told you. So it's like God already knew they were going to ask questions. Why not me? I want to be aware, but it wasn't a need for them to be aware. They had everything. They were naked, they were frolicking, they had everything. So if your father, who created you, told you this tree of knowledge, it's not for you. What did they need to be knowledgeable about when they had everything? So that's why if I tell you not to do something, I do it. I'm not asking you what you want to be like your father. There's only one father. Okay. You feel like God come down here and eat from that tree in order to speak for you? No. He created it for a reason. He knew the path this world had to go on in order to learn. It was going to be ups and downs, but God is, it's not meant to be questioned. And that was just the whole point, the whole setup, because it's like, okay, he created man, in his image, but he created choice too, so, and here we are. No, it's not that he didn't want them to have knowledge. It's like, for what? Who are they going to teach? What, the animals, the other trees? Like, what was the need for the knowledge? But the choice, that's what was in question. Hey, here go this tree of knowledge. Because it didn't bring them the knowledge when they bit the apple, right? Did it? No, it caused everything was a test. So that tree sitting there and the snake being planted there, all of that was a test, because afterwards it was pain, sorrow, suffering. They were naked, running. You know what I'm saying? So, what would Jesus say about the participant? Jesus said he already know me. He know me. He said, "Don't be. I can't be faded." He said, "Keep being me all day." Thank you, Jacksonville. But yes, so you got to understand, like, we are all have a different purpose, but everything is also a test. Like, I can go out and even though I got kids at home, I can make the choice of sleeping with several men, just wilding out, not caring for my kids, everything a choice. But the outcome, what is the long-term outcome? They see mama hoeing, They see me out there in them streets, and they gonna come a product of what they see, and I'm just fucking up my temple. I might catch or contract all of these things. But one thing he gave us was choice. I could choose to live this way or that way. But don't be mad at the outcome. You know what I'm saying? Don't be mad at the outcome. So when the tree designated there, he's like, let me just, because I created, these two individuals, let me just see, how far they're willing to, respect me, respect their father. Because every child untested their parent. So that's why there's a relatability about, what's the Bible and, and now, for us to come back to it, because even in those days they had trials and tribulations as we do, but we could learn what not to do, because we already see similarities, but what we are doing is following some of the similarities he said not to do. So we find people choosing the good and the bad, and so all you got to do is, like, he give you the opportunity to come back to him, because he's always been there. We are of him, but what the path we're choosing or other people choose to do is all a choice. Okay. See, I thought you said that God doesn't tempt. What, tempt? He didn't tempt them. It's a test. Why he wouldn't test? We all are tested. He was tested. His son was tested. Not temptation. Test. Okay. All right, let me finish up. Chapter 2. During Nebuchadnezzar's second year as king, he had dreams that bothered him and kept him awake at night. So the king called for his fortune tellers, magicians, wizards, and wise men, because he wanted them to tell him what he had dreamed. They came in and stood in front of the king. Then the king said to them, I had a dream that bothers me, and I want to know what it means. The wise men answered the king in the Aramaic language. O king, live forever. Please tell us, your servants, your dream. Then we will tell you what it means. King Nebuchadnezzar said to them, I meant what I said. You must tell me the dream and what it means. If you don't, I will have you torn apart, and I will turn your houses into piles of stones. But if you tell me my dream and its meaning, I reward you with gifts and great honor. So tell me the dream and what it means. Again, the wise man said to the king, tell us, your servants, the dream, and we will tell you what it means. King Nebuchadnezzar answered, I know you are trying to get more time, because you know that I meant what I said. If you don't tell me my dream, you will be punished. You have all agreed to tell me lies and wicked things, hoping things will change. Now tell me the dream so that I will know you can tell me what it really means. And I just want the case in point right there. It's like, we people listen to tarot, people listen to things, or search for answers, but sometimes people don't like the answers they hear. Everybody wants this interpretation, so people just can't wait on God, or just wait on themselves to be ready. Want to know now, want to prepare, because if we knew everything right now, seriously, if we had all the answers right now, what would be there to learn? What would be there to learn? Just like with our kids going in school, like I went to school, but if I gave my child all the answers, how are they going? Are they going to want to go to school? No, So it's like we have to, understand that everything happens in divine timing. Let me say it like that: divine timing. You can't rush the process, because just because you think you're ready, you may not be ready. Like every time I think I'm ready for a relationship, I be like, nah, I don't think I'm ready. And it's 4 years now. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is tight, everything is right. I was like, I didn't know, after, babies, everything can come back to, like, but it can, and it's possible if you believe. But everything, whoever's destined for me will come in divine timing. Now it's like, okay, is it gonna be another 4 years, Lord? I'd be like, damn, that's please, but it's like, okay, well, it may or may not, but don't focus on that. Do something in the meantime. So I was like, well, shit, I need to get me another degree. Hey, why not get another degree? Why not go to school? Why not, tone up? I like being thick, but, I'd rather be a little toned so I can wear certain things that I like, not for what somebody else like. or let me go on a few trips, spend more time with my kids. Let me do all of this before I bring somebody else into the unit. Or, or because they will come, you don't even have to worry about that. People will come into your life. Like if you think about how you were in school, and I mean, you used to, go on dates, it was like nothing, what I'm saying? Dating people, hanging out, exchanging numbers. Now everybody's behind the screen. You might not have too many interactions. And then on top of this, quarantine. So you got that on top of this, on top of that. It's like, okay, you don't know what you're going to get. All right. But you need to be in tune with self for to know what you want. Because a lot of people get in a relationship thinking they know what they want and they really don't know what they want. And then it's like, it's about that person. You put all that pressure on the guy to bring what you want when that ain't his job. His job there is just to love you, whatever you present to them. So I just want to talk about, that part, because sometimes we go to, tarots, or we go to friends, family, whatever, looking for answers. When the answers will come to you, it's just a matter of, hey, in the Bible, they talked about that too. They went to, everybody wanted to have the answer, but you always found out the outcome when they sought these type of answers or issues. So it's like about being patient. You need to learn to be patient with yourself, be patient with your kids, and be patient with those you encounter, because you don't know what the next person going through. You just don't know. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it going. Chapter 2, verse 11. The king is asking something that is too hard. Only the gods could tell the king this, but the gods do not live among people. When the king heard their answer, he became very angry. He ordered that all the wise men of Babylon be killed. So King Nebuchadnezzar's order to kill the wise men was announced, and men were sent to look for Daniel and his friends to kill them. Arioch, the commander of the king's guards, was going to kill the wise men of Babylon. But Daniel spoke to him with wisdom and skill, saying, "Why did the king order such a terrible punishment?" Then Arioch explained everything to Daniel. So Daniel went to King Nebuchadnezzar and asked for an appointment so that he could tell the king what his dream meant. Now, you remember, they supposed to have all of these special gifts. Remember, they ate clean. Their temple was clean. They wasn't eating nothing of the guard, So now, Daniel said, okay, I'm about to interpret this, this shit about to go down. All right. So Daniel went to the house and explained the whole story to his friends and Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Daniel asked his friends to pray that God of heaven would show them mercy and help them understand the secret. He and his friends will not be killed with the other wise men of Babylon. Now, he didn't go he had a meeting about what happened, but he went to God. He like, God, what I'm saying? This dude tripping, what I'm saying? So I'm gonna need your help, because he want us to assume his dream, because we supposed to be blessed, magicians, fortune teller, all of the above, so Lord, tell me, give me the strength so we can get, the people. So here we go. During the night, God explained the secret to Daniel in a vision. Then Daniel prayed. Now, he didn't say talk. He said a vision. So sometimes God be giving us the answers and be telling us what we asking for, and we don't want to believe, that's the answer. We don't want to believe in our right mind that, okay, hell no, you want me to be with him, or you want me to leave her, or you want me to quit, or you want me to do this. That's one of them random thoughts. We like to just push that to the side. No. Okay, well, we need to be accepting of what we ask. And if you ask him, he bring it to you. And the first thing you think or gather on sight and we think it's not it, what we doing? We questioning our Father. Here we go. And that's what kids, everything question. No, Mom, why I got to clean my room? Why I got to, wash dishes? We don't think that everything is, you got to want to make a clean house. And if you want a clean house, the person you're going to meet, you're going to want them to, exemplify the type of, place you come from. So let's keep moving. He explained, okay, so we on 2:20. Daniel said, praise God forever and ever, because he has wisdom and power. He changes the times and seasons of the year. He takes away the power of kings and gives their power to new kings. He gives wisdom to those who are wise and knowledge to those who understand. He makes known secrets that are deep and hidden. He knows what is hidden in darkness, and light is all around him. I thank you and praise you, God of my ancestors, because you have given me wisdom and power. You told me what we asked of you. You told us about the king's dream, the meaning of the dream. 224. Then Daniel went to Arioch, the man King Nebuchadnezzar had chosen to kill the wise men of Babylon. Daniel said to him, "Don't put the wise men of Babylon to death. Take me to the king, and I will tell him what his dream means." Very quickly, Arioch took Daniel to the king and said, "I have found a man among the captives from Judah who can tell the king what his dream means." The king asked Daniel, who was also called Belteshazzar. You remember he got his name changed, earlier. The king asked, "Are you able to tell me what I dreamed and what it means?" Daniel answered, "No wise man, magician, or fortune teller can explain to the king the secret he has asked about. But there is a God in heaven who explains secret things, and he has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen at a later time. This is your dream, the vision you saw while lying on your bed. O king, as you were lying there, you thought about things to come. God, who can tell people about secret things, showed you what is going to happen. God also told this secret to me, not because I have greater wisdom than any other living person, but so that you may know what it means. In that way, you will understand what went through your mind." Okay. 231. O king, in your dream, you saw a huge, shiny, and frightening statue in front of you. The head of the statue was made of pure gold. Its chest and arms were made of silver. Its stomach and the upper part of its legs were made of bronze. The lower part of the legs were made of iron, while its feet were made partly of iron and partly of baked clay. While you were looking at the statue, you saw a rock cut free, but no human being touched the rock. It hit the statue on its feet of iron and clay and smashed them. Then the iron, clay, bronze, silver, and gold broke to pieces at the same time. They became like chaff on a threshing floor in the summertime. The wind blew them away, and there was nothing left. But the rock that hit the statue became a very large mountain that filled the whole earth. That was your dream. Now we will tell the king what it means. O king, you are the greatest king. God of heaven has given you a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. Wherever people, wild animals, and birds live, God made you ruler over them. King Nebuchadnezzar, you are the head of gold on that statue. Another kingdom will come after you, but it will not be as great as yours. Next, a third kingdom, the bronze part, will rule over the earth. Then there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, in the same way that iron crushes and smashes things to pieces. The fourth kingdom will smash and crush all the other kingdoms. You saw that the statue's feet and toes were partly baked clay and partly iron. That means the fourth kingdom will be a divided kingdom. It will have some of the strengths of iron in it, just as you saw iron was mixed with clay. The toes of the statue were partly iron and partly clay. So the fourth kingdom will be partly strong like iron and partly breakable like clay. You saw the iron mixed with clay, but iron and clay do not hold together. In the same way, the people of the fourth kingdom will be a mixture, but they will be united as one people. During the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up another kingdom that will never be destroyed or given to another group of people. The kingdom will crush all the other kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will continue forever. King Nebuchadnezzar, you saw a rock cut from a mountain, but no human being touched it. The rock broke the iron, bronze, clay, silver, and gold to pieces. In this way, the great God showed you what will happen. The dream is true. You can trust this explanation. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell face down on the ground in front of Daniel. The king honored him and commanded that an offering and incense be presented to him. Then the king said to Daniel, "Truly, I know your God is the greatest of all gods, the Lord of all the kings. He tells people about things they cannot know. I know this is true because you were able to tell these secret things to me." Then the king gave Daniel many gifts plus an important position in his kingdom. Nebuchadnezzar made him ruler over the whole area of Babylon and put him in charge of all the wise men of Babylon. Daniel asked the king to make Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, leaders of the area of Babylon. So the king did as Daniel asked. Daniel himself became one of the people who stayed at the royal court. All right, so anybody got any questions about that? It's kind of summarized because he got his answers. Daniel went to God, God laid it out, and he recited it out. So here we go, chapter 3, and get some. I'll be done. All right, King Nebuchadnezzar made a gold statue, 90 feet high, 9 feet wide, and set it up on the plain of Dura in the area of Babylon. Then he called for the leaders, the governors, assistant governors, captains of the soldiers, people who advised the king, keepers of the treasury, judges, rulers, and all other officers in his kingdom. He wanted them to come to the special service for the statue he had set up. So they all came for the special service and stood in front of the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the man who made announcements for the king said in a loud voice, "People, nations, and those of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. When you hear the sound of the horns, flutes, lyres, zithers," what's the zithers? It's a musical instruments with 30 or 40 strings. Okay, so that's what a zither is. Harps, pipes, and all the other musical instruments, you must bow down and worship the gold statue that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Anyone who doesn't bow down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace. Ain't that some? You'd be like, wait a minute, okay, But back in that day, we it's a different time. We don't have to worry about that shit now, or maybe, who knows? 3:7. Now people, nations, and those who spoke every language were there. When they heard the sound of the horns, flutes, lyres, zithers, pipes, and all the other musical instruments, they bowed down and worshipped the gold statue King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then some Babylonians came to the king and began speaking against the men of Judah. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever. O king, you gave a command that everyone who heard the horns, lyres, zithers, harps, pipes, and all the other musical instruments would have to bow down and worship the gold statue. Anyone who wouldn't do this was to be thrown into a blazing furnace. O king, there are some men of Judah whom you made officers in the area of Babylon that did not pay attention to your order. Their names are Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They do not serve your gods and do not worship the gold statue you have set up." Now you see what's going on? All right. They the one interpreted, Daniel interpreted, he got that, then he got his people, and now they chilling, and everybody about to say something. Do people ask God to change his mind? It's possible. It's possible, But we're not privy to everybody's prayers, So to look at it from an aspect of, okay, hey, God, I know you want me to be in this place, so you might have sent me an answer, but I need you to change your mind about the decision you made on sending me a message. What God says, or and how you interpret. It's your choice. We got to remember, it's your choice. That's what God gave us. So it ain't about him changing his mind. It's what direction you want to go in. Okay. You got to look at that. God can't sit up here and say, you're going to do what I instructed you to do. You come to him, he give you an answer, just like with your teacher or whoever, you come to him, give him an answer. Ask a question. They give you that answer, and it's on you to move accordingly. And so that's what God has said, because he wants you to love him unconditionally, without question, to have faith, like when I walk outside, I have faith, that, it's not, he's not ready for me to move. I got a bigger purpose to do. So I walk upside, but at the same time, I am prepared, I got my mask, I got my vitamin D, I got my sword and my bat in the car. I got my, you got all of these tools, to assist, because he's not just going to say, okay, I'm going to bless you with these things. He's just going to put the message in your head and you act accordingly. So I don't, it's not whether God needs to change his mind. If you ask him, he give you an answer. And if you change your mind, then you just prepare for the repercussions. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. He said, because he gonna be here to tell you. So is it yes or no? I believe it will be a no, because God gives you an answer, and it's your choice to either take the answer or not. So it's not, God doesn't need to change his mind. He already see the outcome. He already know what you're gonna choose. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, he come to me, but I know what he gonna choose. So he gonna go through the hey. He gonna go through whatever he gonna go through in order to demonstrate.
Mom, can I borrow your phone?
Yeah. So
how do you take the case out?
Okay. You want to do this right now, Jordan?
No, I just want to know how you take a case out of that phone. It's gonna. Thanks.
All right.
I'm gonna see if it can fit in my phone.
All right. Well, just keep it till the end of this broadcast. All right. All right. So let's get back to the chapter. So Shadrach. I'm sorry. We had 3:21. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were tied. Oh no. Okay, we ain't that far. Where we at? Shadrach. See, I lost my train of thought, but okay, here we go. Okay, 3:13. Nebuchadnezzar became very angry and called for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, why he mad? Okay, but that's my question right off back. Why can't somebody come tell the king something about what they, about these disciples who helped them? You know what I'm saying? Whether they bow down now, because to me, I already know the answer for me. And just before we proceed any further, they only bow down to God. So this idol that he adapted or, created, that's what the king want his probably followers to do. But that ain't what, Daniel, and he answered the one. So that's just my interpretation, but let's keep moving. So Nebuchadnezzar became very angry. We got that Shadrach. Nebuchadnezzar said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, is it true that you do not serve my gods nor worship the gold statue I have set up? In a moment, you will again hear the sounds of the horns, flutes, lyres, zithers, harps, pipes, and all the other musical instruments. If you bow down and worship the statue I made, that will be good. But if you do not worship it, you will immediately be thrown.
I'm sorry. Look.
That's not important.
Okay.
You said.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's strike two. Okay. Let me see. Shadrach, Meshach, where was that? If you bow down, okay, 3:15. In a moment, you will hear the sound of the horns, flutes, lyres, zithers, harps, pipes, and all the other musical instruments. If you bow down and worship the statue I made, that will be good. But if you do not worship it, you will immediately be thrown into the blazing furnace. What God will be able to save you from my power then? Now, this group, these disciples, was part of, the group with Daniel, but I don't see Daniel here. But he's threatening the other group that he was with, out of four of them. So Daniel not around, but he threatening these three. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, saying, Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves to you. If you throw us into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to save us from the furnace. He will save us from your power, O king. But even if God does not save us, we want you, O king, to know this. We will not serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up. Now, how many people would just hey, a burning furnace or faith? Because these people are on their faith. They was like, okay, look, fuck your God. Fuck your God. You know what I'm saying? We serve one. And that's how determined you got, I ain't even worried about that burning furnace over there. Do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I already know that the God I'm serving. So, anybody in this day would, compare. Burning, they be like, some people might have thought twice because the faith withers. But, to stand in your own against another king and against the king, and it's like, God, I favor God. God is the Almighty. How many people would do that today, to this day? So let's continue. But even if God does not save us, we want you, O king. Okay, I read that. 3:19. Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and he changed his mind. He ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual. 7 times hotter than usual. Then he commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. Okay, so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were tied up and thrown into the blazing furnace while still wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes. The king's command was very strict, and the furnace was made so hot that the flames killed the strong soldiers who threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the furnace. Firmly tied, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego fell into the blazing furnace. The king Nebuchadnezzar was so surprised that he jumped to his feet. He asked the men who advised them, "Didn't we tie up only 3 men and throw them into the fire?" They answered, "Yes, O king." The king said, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire. They are not tied up and they are not burned. The 4th man looks like a son of the gods." You see that shit. Now, anybody getting tired up, about to get thrown to the furnace, probably would have changed their mind and said, "My bad, king, do another trumpet horn," whatever. They had the faith that they were going to survive. How many people on this earth right now are walking in faith like that? Faith that, hey, whatever, that I got faith in God that he's not going to put me through nothing I cannot handle. Okay. So they answered, "Yes, O king." The king said, "Look, I see." Okay. Then Nebuchadnezzar, 326, went to the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, come out, servants of the Most High God, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. When they came out, the governors, assistant governors, captains of the soldiers, the royal advisors crowded around them and saw that the fire had not harmed their body. Their hair was not burnt, their robes were not burnt, and they didn't even smell like smoke. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Their God has sent his angel and saved his servants from the fire. These 3 men trusted their God and refused to obey my command. They were willing to die rather than serve or worship any God other than their own. So I now give this command. Anyone from any nation or language who says anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego will be torn apart and have his house turned into a pile of stones. No other God can save his people like this." Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the area of Babylon. Now, I feel like that was powerful, but a lot of times here, people walk in faith, they go to church, they talk about it, but when confronted, everybody hey, let me do my taxes. Let me, God, this is one time, so. Okay, chapter 4. Nebuchadnezzar's dream of a tree. King Nebuchadnezzar sent this letter to the people, nation, and those who speak every language in all the world. "I wish you peace and great wealth. The Most High God has done miracles and wonderful things for me that I am happy to tell you about. His wonderful acts are great and his miracles are mighty. His kingdom goes on forever and his rule continues from now on. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was happy and successful at my palace, but I had a dream that made me afraid. As I was lying on my bed, I saw pictures and visions in my mind that alarmed me. So I ordered all the wise men of Babylon to come to me and tell me what my dream meant. The fortune tellers, magicians, and wise men came, and I told them about the dream, but they could not tell me what it meant. Finally, Daniel came to me. I called him Belteshazzar to honor my God because the spirit of the holy gods is in him. I told my dream to him. I said, Belshazzar, I think that's the name, Belshazzar. Who is God jealous of? Okay, let me find out where I'm at. Okay. Who is God jealous of? God ain't jealous of what we, yeah, he's a jealous guy. He's jealous of anybody you worship other than him. Anybody. If you worship a cup, an idol, anybody other than him. If you have more faith in this idol or whoever you idolize, money, cars, yes, because he created that. So you worshiping something that he created, or he put the idea or placement into someone to create that. All of these are man-made objects. So it's like, yes, he's allowed to become jealous. But we're using that terminology. He might not even be like, the word jealous is like, kind of a stern or a negative meaning. He could just be disappointed that you chose, that he gonna have to fuck your ass up, because God is this my, oh man, I gotta let go of one of my children, and he or she was so promising, and people call that, you might call it jealousy. He could call it disappointment, or they can word it, or how those people feel in these stories within the Bible in the past could felt that God, was jealous and gave that interpretation, because your interpretation of jealous is, created by man, and man thinks the word jealous is a negative term, but and that they felt God was exemplifying these man-made emotions, but it could just be disappointment, because you don't have to be jealous. They already knew the plan. So to me, when you say jealous, I feel like, God don't have to be jealous. He already knew the plan and the outcome. So it's more so disappointed that your ass ain't gonna make it to the gate. It's like, I gotta take such and such off the dam. Nah, let me go have a little glass of wine, because he didn't make it to the end of the road. So, all right, 4:8. Finally, Daniel came to me. I called him Belshazzar. I told him my dream. I told my dream to him. I said, Belshazzar, you are the most important of all the fortune tellers. I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you. So there is no secret that is too hard for you to understand. This was what I dreamed. Tell me what it means. I'll go get dressed. No, brush your teeth, wash your face, get dressed. Okay. These are the visions I saw while I was lying in my bed. I looked, and there in front of me was a tree standing in the middle of the earth. It was very tall. The tree grew large and strong. The top of the tree touched the sky and could be seen from anywhere on earth. The leaves of the tree were beautiful, and it had plenty of good fruit on it, enough food for everyone. The wild animals could found shelter under the tree, and the birds lived in its branches. Every animal ate from it. As I was looking at those things in the vision while lying on my bed, I saw an observer, a holy angel coming down from heaven. He spoke very loudly and said, cut down the tree and cut off its branches. Strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the animals under the tree run away, and let the birds in its branches fly away. But leave the stump and its roots in the ground with a band of iron and bronze around it. Let it stay in the field with the grass around it. Let the man become wet with dew, and let him live among the animals and plants of the earth. Let him not think like a human any longer, but let him have the mind of an animal for 7 years. The observers gave the command. The holy ones declared the sentence. This is so all people may know that the Most High God rules over every kingdom on earth. God gives those kingdoms to anyone he wants, and he chooses people to rule them who are not proud. That is what I, King Nebuchadnezzar, dreamed. Now, Belshazzar, tell me what the dream means. None of the wise men in the kingdom can explain it to me, but you can, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. So God kills his children that he is disappointed with. It's not that he kills them. Okay. That's man, They I want to say, if you ask God, because you saying that, like, and you question God and he becomes disappointed, then your path might lead you to death. It's not that he puts all right, we're gonna cross out, and you like, the person getting crossed out just die like, nah, it's like you have a chance to come back to him, but if you choose the path of unrighteousness, choose the path, like I got a board and say, if you choose the path of unrighteousness, then that path can lead you to death. So he's not saying that he kill you. It's just that path that you chose other than his righteous path will lead you to death. So if it's a person there that's following in that path where it's negative, then you might die. And he is disappointed in that because you're not coming to heaven. You just chose, another God to serve. Stop. That's my kid. So it said kill. God had, if you look back in the stories, where you see God killing, you might see other people participating or in the position that made themselves get killed, but it's not God Himself, Heavenly Father, stepping in and going, kill. He might. Only thing but what I've read so far, turning somebody to salt. When the person turned around and He told them not to do it. So, yeah, that person died, but it was because of another person's actions. So you got to understand that God is not the one doing it initially. He's always doing the warning. He's always setting up the playbook. Okay, so God gave you the playbook. And if you do not go by the playbook, He controls everything. So He is responsible. No, He gave y'all choice. You keep forgetting that He is the freedom of choice. So even though He sees the outcome of those choices, which makes Him disappointed, which leads them to the path of probably death, all of that, you can't say that's God in it. No, because you chose. He gave you the wisdom. Now, if you choose that path, which leads to death, and then even through all of that, you have the opportunity to be forgiven, like, to change your mind or change your ways or to go back. God tells you that. It's evident. But if you choose to continue down on that path, like you are told because of your health, you need to stop eating sugar. All right. You was probably warned before, probably prayed on it, whatever. Okay. Fast forward, you go to the doctor, you still doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, help me, ask for help. It's not that, okay, let me not do that because I was like, well, but no, it's not that He uses people. There are people already on earth, that's, not even on God's path. So it's like you jump into their way. It's just like when you driving and you're already in a negative spirit and you get cut off. So that's a pathway to, you never know, that person that cut you off in that car. That's conspiracy. You crazy. And so listen, you got to get it. What I'm saying to you is that God is always available throughout your path. He's always there. He and you. He and all of us. But if you choose not to hear Him, follow His way, follow His law, then you will deter. Like, here you go. The devil is always present. Okay, let me do it like that. I forgot my pencil. The devil is always present. Let me come back. All right, so it's God and then the devil. He's always lurking. So if you choose to stay on the path of God, you ain't even going to visit the devil. But if you choose to deter off that path, then here go side swipe. Okay, the devil side swipes into your way, and there you go. Okay, so you can either follow that path, or you can, let me go and make it right. So I won't be in no bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Or I can follow that person, cuss that person out, for cutting me off. That person pull a gun, and I'm dead. But in all of that, it was a choice. Okay? In all of that. So that's what I'm trying to say. God is not the setup king, but at the same time, He's not of this world. It's more spiritual. He's telling you, how, everything that you're asking for. But then your mind, that's where anxiety, illness and mental health and well-being come into play. Is you got to want the best, just like He wants the best for you. So, but if you're making Him disappointed by hurting people, doing things that's not righteous, then yes, the devil is going to take that opening and jump into the pathway. He's going to take that opening, cut off what God has for you because you're on this path. He's going to send somebody in there. All right, yeah, I got to open it because this person looked like, oh, okay, they not listening to God or they keep questioning. So the devil going to swoop in. The devil is he like Bump, he can't get no, placement. God loves him, but you know, he's still like he's that family member that you keep at a distance. But that's still causing havoc on, the world and people's judgment. So that's why there's a difference between being good and being bad, and the choices that we have. So, and the choices to change, because we always can change. So I hope I explained that okay. All right. So then 3 men trusted God and refused to obey the command. They were willing to die rather than serve. Okay. So let's go here. So 4:8. Finally Daniel came. Oh, I read that. Oh yeah, Daniel came to me. I called him Belshazzar to honor. Okay. All right, 4:10. These are the visions I saw while I was lying in my bed. I looked, and there in front of me was a tree standing in the middle of the earth, and it was very tall. Okay, I read that. Okay, no, I didn't. The tree grew large and strong, and the top of the tree touched the sky and could be seen from anywhere on earth. The leaves of the tree were beautiful and had plenty of good fruit on it, enough food for everyone. The wild animals, food, shelter under the tree, and the birds lived in its branches. Every animal ate from it. As I was looking at those things in the vision while laying in my bed, I saw an observer, a holy angel, come down from heaven. He spoke very loudly and said, "Cut down the tree and cut off its branches." Excuse me. Jordan, bring me the sanitizer, please. But leave the stump.
You want me to bring you a sanitizer?
Yeah, the bottle of sanitizer, please. But leave the stump and its roots in the ground with a band of iron and bronze around it. Let it stay in the field with the grass around it. Let the man become wet and with dew, and let him live among. Just hand it to you.
I got a whole bunch of sanitizer in there.
Let the man become wet with dew. Let him live among the animals and plants of the earth.
Here you go,
Let him not. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go. Stop being sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
That is, let the man become wet with dew, and let him live among the animals and plants of the earth. Let him not think like a human any longer, but let him have the mind of an animal for 7 years. The observers gave this command. The Holy Ones declared the sentence. This is so all people may know that the Most High God rules over every kingdom on earth. God gives those kingdoms to anyone he wants, and he chooses people to rule them who are not proud. You get that? So God needs the devil. I'm sorry. Excuse me. No, God don't need nobody. The devil need him. The devil need him. This is what I, King Nebuchadnezzar, dreamed. Now, Belshazzar, tell me what the dream means. None of the wise men in the kingdom can explain it to me, but you can, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. So 4:19. Then Daniel, who was called Belshazzar, was very quiet for a while, because his understanding of the dream frightened him. So the king said, "Belshazzar, do not let the dream or its meaning make you afraid." Then Belshazzar answered, "My master, I wish the dream were about your enemies, and I wish its meaning were for those who are against you. You saw a tree in your dream that grew large and strong. Its top touched the sky, and it could be seen from all over the earth. Its leaves were beautiful, and it had plenty of fruit for everyone to eat. It was a home for the wild animals, and its branches were nesting places for the birds. O king, you are that tree. You have become great and powerful, like the tall tree that touched the sky. Your power reaches to the far parts of the earth." 4:23. O king, you saw an observer, a holy angel coming down from heaven, who said, "Cut down the tree and destroy it, but leave the excuse me. I'm just going through it. This is the meaning. Okay, I'm sorry. 4:23. O king, you saw an observer, a holy angel coming down from heaven, who said, "Cut down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump and its roots in the ground with a band of iron and bronze around it. Leave it in the field with the grass. Let him become wet with dew and live like a wild animal for 7 years." This is the meaning of the dream. O king, the Most High God has commanded these things to happen to my master, the king. You will be forced away from people to live among the wild animals. People will feed you grass like an ox, and dew from the sky will make you wet. 7 years you will pass, and then you will learn this lesson. The Most High God is ruler over every kingdom on earth, and he gives those kingdoms to anyone he chooses. Since the stump of the tree and its roots were left in the ground, your kingdom will be given back to you when you learn that one in heaven rules your kingdom. Learn that the one in heaven rules your kingdom. So, O king, please accept my advice. Stop sinning and do what is right. Stop doing wicked things. Be kind to the poor. Then you might continue to be successful. All right. So there go the warning. So God needs sins for his designs to work. That's a good one. God needs sins for his designs to work. If we're trying to interpret everything, then maybe yes, but it's kind of people need to learn from mistakes, so that's where the devil, because the devil could have been destroyed, let's be clear with that. God could have destroyed the devil, a long time ago. But the way the world is, and being that we have choices, he wants you to come to him wholeheartedly and freely. So, like I said, if we knew everything, then there would be nothing to learn. But because of the choices of our past, ancestors, present, and just learning, and with the new agreement, because this is the second agreement. We had a old agreement, and then we had a new one. Because even then, and like the Bible speaks of, people were doing wicked things, and at the devil's mercy. Some people now think the devil is the God, or a better God, or a greater God, because sometimes he brings things more faster than God wants you to inherit them. The devil just places them, in your life, whether you know how to handle it or not. So I like that you said for the designs to work. This thing look like a bunch of water. All right, but anyway, yeah, I think I can agree with that. What God needs sins for his designs to work, because yes, I mean you need to know the difference, between what is sin and what is not. So if you feel like it's not a sin to sleep with another man's wife, then it's like, okay, well, how was that good? Why is that not frowned upon? You're meant to be with one person as opposed to other, and you see the actions of doing sinning. You see every sin is a negative aspect of it. The commandments, thou shalt not kill. Who you shouldn't be the judge or jury of someone else's life. Now, if someone else is doing you harm or trying to threaten you and all that, there's laws for that, and which are fair laws. So we got the stand your ground laws. We got right to bear arms. So it's like, okay, if you killing somebody because they were a threat to you, then that was the purpose in the learning lesson, things to learn from. So I think that's plausible to say God needs sins for his designs to work. Because yes, you need to know to come to him, and not just because people go to him in dire need, in death, in life, in sorrow, and when they're getting blessed, and then some people just forget about him in the entirety and go to the devil, because like he said, the devil can be quicker, faster, a lot sexier, a lot more interesting, than God. So, but he's here to be your father. He's here to guide you. He's here to love you. He's not here to be your friend. And the devil wants to be friends, with an end result. With God, you got everlasting. So choose your battle. All right. So Daniel explains the dream. Did Daniel? Oh, okay, right. All right, chapter 428. All these things happened to King Nebuchadnezzar. 12 months later, as he was walking on the roof of his palace in Babylon, he said, I have built this great Babylon as my royal home. I built it by my power to show my glory and my majesty. The words were still in his mouth when a voice from heaven said, King Nebuchadnezzar, these things will happen to you. Your royal power has been taken away from you. You will be forced away from your people. You will live with the wild animals and will be fed grass like an ox. 7 years will pass before you learn this lesson. The Most High God rules over every kingdom on earth and gives those kingdoms to anyone he chooses. Immediately the words came true. Nebuchadnezzar was forced to go away from people. He began eating grass like an ox. He became wet from dew. His hair grew long like the feathers of an eagle. His nails grew like claws of a bird. At the end of that time, I, Nebuchadnezzar, looked up toward heaven, and I could think normally again. Then I gave praise to the Most High God. I gave honor and glory to him who lives forever. God's rule is forever, and his kingdom continues for all time. People on earth are not truly important. God does what he wants, and God does what he wants with the powers of heaven and the people on earth. No one can top his powerful hand or question what he does. At that time, I could think normally again, and God gave back my great honor and power and returned the glory to my kingdom. The people who advised me and the royal family came to me for help again. I became king again and was even greater and more powerful than before. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, gave praise and honor and glory to the King of heaven. Everything he does is right and fair, and he is able to make proud people humble. So God created sin, not men. How can I explain it? No. God created the freedom of choice. And if you choose to sin, which is a byproduct of the devil, because sin and man, sin is the negative of not following the word of God. So, of course, he created man, but man chose the sin, and that sin came from the first sin, from eating off the, like you said, the tree. So from that point, you know what I'm saying, it's like men had choices, hey, go, follow God, sin, follow God, sin. And in this case in point, King Nebuchadnezzar, he got the big head, after all the things he done seen. He didn't even really believe that he was going to suffer. He thought he was untouchable. But God wanted to tell him, look, dude, you're not untouchable. You know what I'm saying? And you already was told what was going to happen if you do A, B, and C. But, you're still proclaiming, so I have to humble you. And God can humble you in, ways, that you're supposed to learn and not want to go back. But some people sometimes, get humbled and go right back to, dishonoring God, and sometimes that's where he become disappointed and you ultimately get fucked up. That's what happened. All right. Chapter 5, the writing on the wall. King Belshazzar gave a big banquet for 1,000 royal guests and drank wine with them. As Belshazzar was drinking his wine, he gave orders to bring the gold and silver cups that his ancestor Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple in Jerusalem. This was so the king, his royal guests, his wives, and his slave women could drink from those cups. So they brought the gold cups that had been taken from the temple of God in Jerusalem, and the king and his royal guests, his wives, and his slave women drank from them. As they were drinking, they praised their gods, which were made from gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. Suddenly, the fingers of a person's hand appeared and began writing on the plaster of the wall near the lampstand in the royal palace. The king watched the hand as it wrote. King Belshazzar was very frightened. His face turned white, his knees knocked together, and he could not stand up because his legs were too weak. The king called for the magicians, wise men, and wizards of Babylon and said to them, anyone who can read this writing and explain it will receive purple clothes fit for a king and a gold chain around his neck. And I will make that person the third highest ruler in the kingdom. Then all the kings, wise men came in, but they could not read the writing or tell the king what it meant. King Belshazzar became even more afraid, and his face became even whiter. His royal guests were confused. Then the king's mother, who had heard the voices of the king and his royal guests, came into the banquet room. She said, "O king, live forever. Don't be afraid or let your face be white with fear. There is a man in your kingdom who has the spirit of the holy gods. In the days of your father, this man shall show understanding, knowledge, and wisdom like the gods. Your father, King Nebuchadnezzar, put this man in charge of all the wise men, fortune tellers, magicians, and wizards. The man I am talking about is named Daniel, whom the king named Belshazzar. He was very smart and had knowledge and understanding. He could explain dreams and secrets and could answer very hard problems. Call for Daniel. He will tell you what the writing on the wall means." So they brought Daniel to the king, and the king asked, "Is your name Daniel? Are you one of the captives my father, the king, brought from Judah? I've heard that the spirit of the gods is in you, and that you are very smart and have knowledge and extraordinary understanding. The wise men and magicians were brought to me to read this writing and to explain what it means, but they could not explain it. I've heard that you are able to explain what things mean and can find the answers to hard problems. Read this writing on the wall and explain it to me. If you can, I will give you purple clothes fit for a king and a gold chain to wear around your neck, and you will become the third highest ruler in the kingdom." Then Daniel answered the king, "You may keep your gifts for yourself, or you may give those rewards to someone else. But I will read the writing on the wall for you and will explain to you what it means. O king, the most high God made your father Nebuchadnezzar a great, important, and powerful king. Because God made him important, all the people, nations, and those who spoke every language were very frightened of Nebuchadnezzar. If he wanted someone to die, he killed that person. If he wanted someone to live, he let that person live. Those he wanted to promote, he promoted. Those he wanted to be less important, he made less important. But Nebuchadnezzar became too proud and stubborn, so he was taken off his royal throne. His glory was taken away. He was forced away from people, and his mind became like the mind of an animal. He lived with the wild donkeys and was fed grass like an ox and became wet with dew. These things happened to him until he learned his lesson. The Most High God rules over every kingdom on earth, and he sets anyone he chooses over those kingdoms. So that's the reminder. He rules everything. He does everything. He's the last decision maker, I guess. Yes, if I said that right. He's the one and only. Belshazzar, you already knew these things because you were a descendant of Nebuchadnezzar. Still, you have not been sorry for what you have done. Instead, you have set yourself against the Lord of heaven. You ordered the drinking cups from the temple of the Lord to be brought to you. Excuse me. You ordered the drink. Okay. Then you, in your royal guests, your wives and your slave women drank wine from them. You praise the gods of silver, gold, bronze, iron, wood, and stone that are not really gods. They cannot see or hear or understand anything. You did not honor God, who has power over your life and everything you do. So God sent the hand that wrote on the wall. These are the words that were written on the wall: Mene, Mene, Tekel, and Parsin. I was like, did Adam have a bit? Really? These are the words that were written on the wall: Mene, Mene, Tekel, and Parsin. 526. This is what the words mean. Mene, God has counted the days until your kingdom will end. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found not good enough. Parsin, your kingdom is being divided and will be given to the Medes and the Persians. Then Belshazzar gave an order to Daniel to be dressed in purple clothes and to have a gold chain put around his neck. And it was announced that Daniel was the third highest ruler in the kingdom. That very same night, Belshazzar, king of Babylonian people, was killed. So Darius and Mede became the new king when he was 62 years old. See how that shit, he just rearranged it. Because I didn't even think he was going to become king. So I'm just thinking about that belly button. I think so. But we'll read about it. Have we read about any belly buttons? Because that's a good one. Because the belly button is like part of the umbilical cord. But since you were created with the rib, you know, people change over centuries. So yeah, he had a belly button, bumped it. All right, chapter 6. Darius thought it would be a good idea to choose 120 governors who would rule his kingdom. He chose 3 men as supervisors over those governors, and Daniel was one of the supervisors. The supervisors were to ensure that the governors did not try to cheat the king. Daniel showed that he could do the work better than the other supervisors and governors, so the king planned to put Daniel in charge of the whole kingdom. Because of this, the other supervisors and governors tried to find reasons to accuse Daniel about his work in the government, but they could not find anything wrong with him or any reason to accuse him because he was trustworthy and not lazy or dishonest. Finally, these men said, "We will never find any reason to accuse Daniel unless it is about the law of his God." So the supervisors and governors went as a group to the king and said, "King Darius, live forever. The supervisors, assistants, governors, governors, the people who advise you, and the captains of the soldiers have all agreed that you should make a new law for everyone to obey. For the next 30 days, no one should pray to any god or human except to you, O king. Anyone who doesn't obey will be thrown into the lion's den. Now, O king, make the law and sign your name to it so that it cannot be changed, because then it will be law of the Medes and Persians and cannot be canceled." So King Darius signed the law. Even though Daniel knew that the new law had been written, he went to pray in an upstairs room in his house, which had windows that opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times each day, Daniel would kneel down to pray and thank God, just as he always had done. Then those men went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help. So they went to the king and talked to him about the law he had made. They said, "Didn't you sign a law that says no one may pray to any god or human except you, O king? Now, why would you want to do that?" You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you, if you know that God had already did that to your predecessors? Here we go with the same. You see how this reoccurring? It seems like everything is reoccurring, right? You start, you get humbled, and then here you go with these, minions come in and try to mess up in a kingdom, or cause dissension. Adam and Eve, marriage is a earthly, it's of the earth, it's of the, man. Marriage is a man-made terminology, you know what I'm saying? But marriage is also something that was written into or are part of the new agreements. You got, all of these things that we have to do now. But back then, Adam and Eve married, they were just what you want to say, like they were for each other. Like we all have a Adam or a Eve. You have an Eve, I have an Adam. In union. In spirit. And God. Where we run into now. We might not have children by maybe our Adam or our Eves. But we are destined to be with someone. So marriage, there was nobody else on the planet. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they were for each other. They knew that. That wasn't a question. They knew they was made from God. God didn't want Adam to be alone. And that just tells us that man is not meant to live alone, conquer alone, or be alone. So it takes two. But how we of this earth, prioritize, what we think of women, all of these, women should do this, women should, cater, women should, yes, but the Bible talks about both. It takes two, but we have linked because of, our balance in, women to man, and how a lot is locked up, and how a lot of men have transitioned, to be with other men, it's slim pickings, so, but to each its own. I am not here to judge. 6:16. So King Darius gave the order, and Daniel was brought in and thrown into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May the God you serve all the time save you." A big stone was brought and placed over the lion's den, over the opening of the lion's den. Then the king used his signet ring and the rings of his royal officers to put special seals on the rock. This ensured that no one would move the rock and bring Daniel out. Then King Darius went back to his palace. He did not eat that night. He did not have any entertainment brought to him, and he could not sleep. The next morning, King Darius got up at dawn and hurried to the lion's den. As he came near the den, he was worried. He called out to Daniel, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God that you always worship been able to save you from the lions? Daniel answered, O king, live forever. My God sent his angel to close the lion's mouth. They have not hurt me because my God knows I am innocent. I never did anything wrong to you, O king. King Darius was very happy and told his servants to lift Daniel out of the lion's den. See, everything was a test. Everything he had to do was a test. And Daniel was just ready for all of it. And even the other servants was. So as fornication is sin. Define fornication. Daniel answered, O king, live forever. Okay, 623. King Darius was very happy and told his servants to lift Daniel out of the lion's den. So they lifted him out and did not find any injury on him because Daniel had trusted in his God. Then the king commanded that the men who had accused Daniel be brought to the lion's den. They, their wives, and their children were thrown into the den. The reason why I asked you to define fornication is to make sure you know what it means. Because, my definition of fornication, we got to make sure we both on the same page. Okay. The lions grabbed them, and also some people may not know what fornication means, so you go ahead and wrap it up. But I can look at that. I'm having a brain fart because I'm reading and I'm trying to get to the thing. But, okay, well, you can look it up real quick. Let me finish reading this step. If you don't say anything, I'll define it in a minute. The king Darius wrote a letter. The king commanded that the men 624, who accused Daniel be brought to the lion's den. They, their wives, and their children were thrown into the den. The lions grabbed them before they hit the floor of the den and crushed their bones. He done killed the whole family. Now, that wasn't God killing the whole family. This was the king who was testing Daniel, who worshiped his God. But because his choices, he took the men who told on Daniel that caught him praying and took all away their families, their children, their wives, and killed them. The king Darius wrote a letter to all people in all nations, to those who spoke every language in the world. I wish you great peace and wealth. I am making a new law for people in every part of my kingdom. All of you must fear and respect the God of Daniel. Daniel's God is the living God. He lives forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed, and his rule will never end. God rescues and saves people and does mighty miracles in heaven and on earth. He is the one who saved Daniel from the power of the lions. So Daniel was successful during the time Darius was king and when Cyrus the Persian was king. Chapter 7. Sex out of wedlock. All right. Now let me give you the Siri version. What does fornication mean?
Okay, I found this.
Voluntarily sexual intercourse between persons not married to each other. Extramarital sex that willfully and maliciously interferes with marriage relations. Okay, so that is the whole definition. And so your question is, so why is fornication is a sin? Because, you answered the question back. Okay, we might be byproducts of Adam and Eve, but we're living of the world, and because this world and man says that marriage has these rules, and even the New Testament, that talks about it too. With the New Testament, talk about marriage and, vows and honoring, just like your mother and father, your wife and husband, and coveting the husband and honoring thy neighbors. These are all part of the new agreements. So that's why, having sex out of wedlock is considered a sin, because we all are destined, or we are promised to another person. So when you violate your temple by having, people that you're not, trying to have a life with or, build with, you know, it becomes, if let's just think about it, why would that be? Why wouldn't that be a sin? You sleeping without a commitment, a person that can sleep with other people. Imagine that, like, that's like a what do you call like a sex pyramid. It doesn't it doesn't provide a means to an end, and there's nothing beneficial about doing that, on a health wise and mental wise. Sleeping with different people is not good mentally, spiritually, and physically. So that's why anything God projects, if you look at it, is fair and very impartial. So when you talk about fornicating, yes, you shouldn't be, just like you wouldn't want your daughter or child sleeping with. Why is that healthy to sleep with someone that is not promised to you? So that's why the development of marriage came apart, or where they talk about people living in polygamy, having several different wives, and they're annotating or thinking that the Bible is promoting that. But this is a different day and age, and from then to now, things have changed. Where what was looked at then is maybe frowned upon now, but that comes with change in different people and different environments in different countries. But if you go to another country, you might can have several wives, and that's because of their man-made laws and what they feel. Yeah, they had an unspoken commitment. You know, they had an unspoken commitment, and that's why he followed her into the garden. He gave her the apple because you think, man, he should know better. He was created first. He was the man of the season. But men can be tested. All men are tested in some form of fashion. So in this fashion, instead of him, saying, hey, you heard what our father said, woman. Said, put that damn apple down, fuck that snake. He was like, trying to please her and believe that she had greater good. Hey, God wouldn't have her here, for me, if she wouldn't say the right things. But any woman that have you test your father and she tests her father, Eve wasn't promised that. He made her. He made her for Adam. We're gonna read Genesis, I think, next week. It's just a big book, but we're gonna try dancing. But yes, he made her because you're gonna make me flip back to the verse. Because it's like, okay, we gonna let me finish this, all right. But yeah, you can look up that verse, but he made because Adam needed a partner in crime. So he made him not for he won't be to be alone. He didn't want him to be alone. So I don't want to misquote, but we'll flip back there. But you can check it out while I'm reading and see. In Genesis. Okay, so chapter 7. In Belshazzar's first year as king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream. He saw visions as he was lying on his bed, and he wrote down what he had dreamed. Daniel said, I saw my vision at night. In the vision, the wind was blowing from all four directions, which made the sea very rough. I saw 4 huge animals coming up from the sea, and each animal was different from the others. The first animal looked like a lion, but had wings like an eagle. I watched this animal until its wings were torn off. It was lifted from the ground so that it stood up 2 feet like a human, and it was given the mind of a human. Then I saw a second animal before me that looked like a bear. I was raised up on one of his sides and had 3 ribs in his other mouth between his teeth. It was told, get up and eat all the meat you want. After that, I looked, and there before me was another animal. The animal looked like a leopard with 4 wings on its back that looked like a bird's wings. The animal had 4 heads and was given power to rule. After that, in my vision at night, I saw in front of me a 4th animal that was cruel, terrible, and very strong. It had large iron teeth. It crushed and ate what it killed, and then it walked on whatever was left. This 4th animal was different from any animal I had seen before, and it had 10 horns. While I was thinking about the horns, another grew Another horn grew up among them. It was a little horn with eyes like a human's eyes. It also had a mouth, and the mouth was bragging. The little horn pulled out three of the other horns. As I looked, thrones were put in their places, and God, who had been alive forever, sat on his throne. His clothes were white like snow, and the hair on his head was white like wool. His throne was made from fire, and the wheels of his throne were blazing with fire. A river of fire was flowing from in front of him. Many thousands of angels were serving him, and millions of angels stood before him. Court was ready to begin, and the books were open. You see how it talks about God too in this? I was just looking at his clothes were white like snow, and his hair on his head was white like wool. So it just tells you little snippets of, okay, where we see, but y'all see a picture of Jesus. That's not God. That's a son of God. But we all are children, and we all are from different walks. But when y'all look at the picture of Jesus and y'all see what white Jesus, y'all forgetting that's the son, but we all come from different shades, okay? Because Adam got bored. Adam was lonely. And like I said, we're not meant to be alone. I tell you not to. We are not meant to be alone. But we're going to read Genesis next week. We're going to get on that because, okay, so let me finish this. Chapter 11, 7:11. I kept on looking because the little horn was bragging. I kept watching until finally the fourth animal was killed. Its body was destroyed and it was thrown into the burning fire. The power and rule of the other animals had been taken from them, but they were permitted to live for a certain period of time. In my vision at night, I saw in front of me someone who looked like a human being coming on the clouds in the sky. He came near God, but who has been alive forever, and he was led to God. He was given authority, glory, and the strength of a king. People of every tribe, nation, and language will serve him. His rule will last forever, and his kingdom will never be destroyed. Daniel 7:15. Daniel was worried. The visions that went through my mind frightened me. I came near one of those standing there and asked what all this meant. So he told me and explained to me what these things meant. The four great animals are four kingdoms that will come from the earth. But the holy people who belong to the Most High God will receive the power to rule and will have the power to rule forever from now on. Then I want to know what the fourth animal meant, because it was very different, because it was different from all the others. It was very terrible and had iron teeth and bronze claws. It was the animal that crushed and ate what it killed and then walked on whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on his head and about the little horn that grew there. It had pulled out 3 of the other 10 horns and looked greater than theirs. It had eyes and a mouth that kept bragging. As I watched, the little horn began making war against God's holy people and was defeating them. Until God, who has been alive forever, came, he judged in favor of the holy people who belong to the Most High God. Then the time came for them to receive the power to rule. 7:23. He explained this to me. The fourth animal is a fourth kingdom that will come on the earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will destroy people all over the world. It will walk on and crush the whole earth. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this fourth kingdom. After those 10 kings are gone, another king will come. Excuse me. God should have known that, made them at the same time. Everybody had a little test, He wanted to make sure that when he made Adam, he would be, very eager to serve, very willing, and then after some time, you're like, okay, let me get you a little squeeze, get you a little homie so you can share these things with. All right, where's that? After he explained this to me, the fourth animal. Okay, so 7:25. This king will speak against the Most High God, and he will hurt and kill God's holy people. He will try to change times and laws that have already been set. The holy people that belong to God will be in that king's power for 3.5 years, but the court will decide what should happen. The power of the king will be taken away, and his kingdom will be completely destroyed. Then the holy people who belong to the Most High God will have the power to rule. They will rule over all the kingdoms under heaven with power and greatness, and there before it to rule will last forever. People from all the other kingdoms will respect and serve them. This was the end of the dream. I, Daniel, was very afraid. My face became white from fear, but I kept everything to myself. Chapter 8. During the 3rd year of King Belshazzar's rule, so that's Daniel, he's ruling, I, Daniel, saw another vision, which was like the first one. In this vision, I saw myself in the capital city of Susa, in the area of Elam. I was standing by the Yulia Canal when I looked up and saw a male sheep standing beside the canal. It had 2 long horns, but one horn was longer and newer than the other. I watched the sheep change to the west, the north, and the south. No animal could stand before him, and none could save another animal before his power. He did whatever he wanted and became very powerful. While I was watching this, I saw a male goat come from the west. The goat had one large horn between his eyes and was easy to see. See, I be thinking about a unicorn. Like, are they talking about unicorns? He crossed over the whole earth so fast that his feet hardly touched the ground. In his anger, the goat charged the sheep with the 2 horns that I had seen standing by the canal. I watched the angry goat attack the sheep and break the sheep's 2 horns. The sheep was not strong enough to stop it. The goat knocked the sheep to the ground and then walked all over him. No one was able to save the sheep from the goat. So the male goat became very great. But when he was strong, his big horn broke off and the 4 horns grew in place. Hey, babe, go ahead. You ready? All right, go. You put grease on your face and wash it. And brush it. Then a little horn. Where was it? Chapter 9. Now chapter 8, 11. The little horn set itself up as an equal to God. The commander of the heavens armies, it stopped the daily sacrifices that were offered to him and the temple. The place where people worshipped him was pulled down. Because there was a turning away from God, the people stopped the daily sacrifices. Truth was thrown down to the ground, and the horn was successful in everything it did. Then I heard a holy angel speaking. Another holy angel asked the first one, "How long will the things in this vision last?" The daily sacrifices, the turning away from God that brings destruction, the temple being pulled down, and the army of heaven being walked on. The angel said to me, "This will happen for 2,300 evenings and mornings." 2,300 evening and mornings. Then the holy place will be repaired. Daniel saw this vision and tried to understand what it meant. In it, I saw someone who looked like a man standing near me, and I heard a man's voice calling from the Ulai Canal. "Gabriel, explain the vision to this man." Gabriel came to where I was standing. When he came close to me, I was very afraid and bowed face down on the ground. But Gabriel said to me, "Human being, understand that this vision is about the time of the end. Understand that this." Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. But Gabriel said to me, "Human being." Okay, he called him a human being. God. So we are supposed to be human beings of the spirit with God within us. Okay. Gabriel came and he said, "Understand that this vision is about the time of the end." 8:18. While Gabriel was speaking, I fell into a deep sleep with my face on the ground. Then he touched me and lifted me to my feet. He said, "Now I will explain to you what will happen in the time of God's anger. Your vision was about the said time of the end. You saw a male sheep with 2 horns, which are the kings of Media and Persia." Now you see it says media. Okay, you think about mass media because they say that like that's the devil's playground. Media, anything of media, because it caused distension, it caused issues, it caused the roasterenia. You know what I'm saying? So Media and Persia. The male goat is the king of Greece, and the big horn between its eyes is the first king. The 4 horns that grew in the place of the broken horn are 4 kingdoms. Those 4 kingdoms will come from the nation of the first king, but they will not be as strong as the first king. When the end comes near for those kingdoms, a bold and cruel king who tells lies will come. So who is in power now that tells lies and is bold and cruel at the same time? This will happen when many people have turned against God. This king will be very powerful, but his power will not come from himself. He will cause terrible destruction and will be successful in everything he does. He will destroy powerful people and even God's holy people. This king will succeed by using lies and force. He will think that he is very important. He will destroy many people without warning. He will try to fight even the prince of princesses. But that cruel king will be destroyed, and not by human power. The vision that has been shown to you about these evenings and mornings is true. But seal up the vision because those things won't happen for a long time. So seal it up. But so this is back in the day. So long time. What time you think you're talking about now? I, Daniel, became very weak and was sick for several days after that vision. Then I got up and went back to work for the king. But I was very upset about the vision. I didn't understand what it meant. Chapter 9. These things happened through the first year Darius, son of Xerxes was king over Babylon. He was a descendant of the Medes. During Darius' first year as king, I, Daniel, was reading from the scriptures. I saw that the Lord told Jeremiah that Jerusalem would be empty, ruins for 70 years. And I just want y'all to think about that too. Like, we all come from, Babylon. People say Africa and all of that, but there was a migration, and where it was broken up. People went to separate ways. Different languages adapted. But if you notice, like, when I went overseas to Korea and when I stopped through Japan, it's like you have people, of color in different places. Like, I mean, even we can even speak these languages. We can learn these languages. If these cultures was so, tight where, we needed to be exiled, how can you learn something? You know what I'm saying? How can you adapt another language so easily? How can it be written? How it can be formulated across different cultures? So to say that we're only this type of people would be preposterous, because we can learn and adapt in any set. There's people living in Japan, Russia, Korea, Africa, all the continents, and they have their different cultures, their different languages, they different peace. But the origination of all before the separations was what? Jerusalem, Babylon, what, we all started here. And then we migrated there. And then we talked about, okay, this is our culture and y'all different from us because y'all didn't migrate this way. But we all came from the same root, which is Adam and Eve. We all came, Eve, descendants. And then they were like, there you go, because we read what it was, King, or I have me lying, but you go back and read some of the chapters we already went over. You can see that we started as one, and then we, with the migration and the census, everybody adapted their own culture. That doesn't mean it was of God. It was because the way of the world and how things had to play out during that time. I'm sorry, I need to eat something. Now I'm getting hungry. Panguea. You gotta explain Panguea. You just said Panguea. What is that? Is that a country, a place, a thing? Did I just read that? All right. What was that? Chapter 9:3. Did I turn to the Lord God and prayed and asked for help? I did not eat any food to show my sadness. I put on rough cloth and sat in ashes. I prayed to the Lord my God and told him about all of your sins. I said, Lord, you are a great God who causes fear and wonder. You keep your agreement of love with all who love you and obey your commands. But we have sinned and done wrong. We have been wicked and turned against you for your commands, your laws. We did not listen to your servants, the prophets who spoke for you, to our kings, our leaders, and our ancestors, and all the people of the land. Lord, you are good and right, but we are full of shame today. The people of Judah and Jerusalem, all the people of Israel, those near and far, whom you scattered among many nations because they were not loyal to you. Lord, we are all ashamed. Our kings and leaders and our fathers are ashamed because we have sinned against you. So we're just talking about that, how, he scattered everybody, from what was the initial, Jerusalem, and the people of Israel was scattered, so, but that doesn't mean that we are not one. But he did that because, like I said, people within are like our ancestors, was developing their own right, developing their own, they turned away from God, so here we are, in the repercussions of our ancestors, before there were continents, exactly, where everything meshed it. But before there was before there was dinosaurs. Yeah, I mean, not before dinosaurs. I think the dinosaurs came, then we came after that. So where was I? Okay, 9:12. You said these things will happen to us and our leaders, and you made them happen. And you brought on us a great disaster. Nothing has ever been done on earth like what was done to Jerusalem. All this disaster came to us just as it was written in the teachings of Moses. But we have not pleaded with the Lord our God. We have not stopped sinning. We have not paid attention to your truth. The Lord was ready to bring the disaster on us, and he did it because the Lord our God is right in everything he does. But we still did not obey him. Lord our God, you used your power and brought us out of Egypt. Because of that, your name is known even today. But we have sinned and have done wrong. Lord, you do what is right, but please do not be angry with Jerusalem, your city on your holy hill. Because of our sins and the evil things done by our ancestors, people all around insult and make fun of Jerusalem and your people. 9:17. Now our God, hear the prayers of your servant. Listen to my prayer for help. For your sake, do good things for your holy place that is in ruins. My God, pay attention and hear me. Open your eyes and see all the terrible things that have happened to us. See how our lives have been ruined and what has happened to the city that is called by your name. We do not ask these things because we are good. Instead, we ask because of your mercy. Lord, listen. Lord, forgive. Lord, hear us and do something. For your sake, don't wait, because your city and your people are called by your name. Does that sound like a divine design? Not really, but nothing is going to be perfect. How are we going to learn? We got to learn from the faults of our ancestors. We have to learn, and that it's always going to be forgiven. We have to learn. What's up, this thing, but okay.
Can we go now?
Yeah, I gotta do something with your hand. So, yes, the divine design is in us. We're living the repercussions of our ancestors, but we can change. We can change. He always says, I always say, you can always come back. Let's put him first. All right, 9:20. While I was saying these things in my prayer to the Lord, my God, confessing my sins and the sins of the people of Israel and praying for God's holy hill, Gabriel came to me. I had seen him in my last vision. Now, Gabriel is the angel, right? Or the archangel. He came flying quickly to me about the time of the evening sacrifice while I was still praying. He taught me and said to me, Daniel, I have come to give you wisdom and to help you understand. When you first started praying, an answer was given, and I came to tell you because God loves you very much. So think about the message and understand the vision. God has ordered 490 years for your people. All right. This is 9:24. God has ordered 490 years for your people and your holy city for these reasons: to stop people from turning against God, to put an end to sin, to take away evil, to bring in goodness that continues forever, to bring about the vision and prophecy, and to appoint a most holy place. All right, he's telling you, learn and understand these things. A command will come to rebuild Jerusalem. The time from this command until the appointed leader comes will be 49 years and 434 years. Will be 49 years and 434 years. 434. I don't know. I saw that number somewhere. All right. Jerusalem will be rebuilt with streets and a trench filled with water around it, but it will be built in times of trouble. After the 434 years, the appointed leader will be killed. He will have nothing. The people of the leader who is to come and will destroy the city and the holy place. The end of the city will come like a flood, and war will continue until the end. God has ordered that place to be completely destroyed. That leader will make the leader will make firm an agreement with many people for 7 years. He will stop the offerings and sacrifices after 3.5 years. A destroyer will do terrible things until the ordered end comes to the destroyed city. It's a lot of numbers in there. All right, chapter 10. During Cyrus' third year as king of Persia, Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, received a vision about a great war. It was a true message that Daniel understood. At that time, I, Daniel, had been very sad for 3 weeks. It's a lot of three. Got three people too. On the 24th day of the first month. Oh, I'm sorry. At the time, Daniel had been very sad for 3 weeks. I did not eat any fancy food or meat or drink any wine or use any perfumed oil for 3 weeks. On the 24th day of the first month, I was standing beside the great Tigris River. While standing there, I looked up and saw a man dressed in linen clothes with a belt of fine gold wrapped around his waist. His body was like shiny yellow quartz. His face was bright like lightning, and his eyes were like fire. His arms and legs were shiny like polished bronze, and his voice sounded like the roar of the crowd. Who are they talking about? You see that? His body was like a shiny yellow quartz. His face was bright like lightning. His eyes were like fire. His arms and legs were shiny like polished bronze, and his voice sounded like the roar of the crowd. All right, you think that's black? You think that's Indian? You think that's who knows? You know. I Daniel 10:7. I Daniel was the only person who saw the vision. The men with me did not see it because they were so frightened that they ran away and hid. So I was left alone watching this great vision. I lost my strength. My face turned white like a dead person, and I was helpless. Then I heard the man in the vision speaking. As I listened, I fell into a deep sleep with my face on the ground. And it was like he felt like this. You know, he fall. Then a hand touched me and set me on my hands and knees. I was so afraid that I was shaking. The man in the vision said to me, Daniel, God loves you very much. Oh, I got the hiccup. Loves you very much. Think carefully about the words I will speak to you and stand up because I have been sent to you. When he said this, I stood up and I was still shaking. 10:12. Then the man said to me, Daniel, do not be afraid. Some time ago, you decided to get understanding and to be humble and to humble yourself before your God. Since that time, God has listened to you, and I have come because of your prayers. But the prince of Persia has been fighting against me for 21 days. Then Michael, one of the most important angels, came to help me because I've been left there with the king of Persia. Now I have come to explain to you what will happen to your people because the vision is about a time in the future. While he was speaking to me, I bowed face down and could not speak. Then one who looked like a man, the one who looked like a man, touched my lips. So I opened my mouth and I started to speak. I said to the one standing in front of me, Master, I am upset and afraid because of what I saw in the vision. I feel helpless. Master, how can I, your servant, talk with you? My strength is gone and it is hard for me to breathe. The one who looked like a man, touched me again and gave me strength. He said, Daniel, don't be afraid. God loves you very much. Peace be with you. Be strong now. Be courageous. When he spoke to me, I became stronger and said, Master, speak since you have given me strength. Then he said, Daniel, do you know why I've come to you? Soon I must go back to fight against the Prince of Persia. And that's a Prince of Persia. Ain't that a movie and a cartoon? When I go to the Prince of Greece, the Prince of Greece will come. But I must first tell you what is written in the book of truth. No one stands with me against these enemies except Michael, the angel ruling over your people. So now they're saying Michael is ruling. Thank you. Excuse me. That's how I used to get friends sometimes. I sneeze, so like they be like, "What the hell? Who's sneezing like that?" I'd be like, "Hey, that's me. Thank you. My name is." Because people used to be like, "What type of sneeze is that?" But I used to move so much because my military family. So anything that'll get me to be like, "Hey, hi." But a lot of people don't speak to people, and stuff. But I was always so open and whatever. So anything to draw like, hey, a little friendship. I even used to go sit with people who sat by themselves. Any new person, like I would just do that. I used to do that when I was young. I knew I was special. Now then, Daniel, I tell you the truth. 3 more kings will rule in Persia, and then a fourth king will come. He will be much richer than all the kings of Persia before him, and will use his riches to get power. He will stir up against the kingdom of Greece. Then a mighty king will come who will rule with great power and will do anything he wants. After that king has come, his kingdom will be broken up and divided out towards the 4 parts of the world. His kingdom will not go to his descendants. It will not have the power that he had because his kingdom will be pulled up and given to other people. 11:5. The king of the south will become strong, but one of his commanders will become even stronger. He will begin to rule his own kingdom with great power. Then, then after a few years, a new friendship will develop. The daughter of the king of the south will marry the king of the north in order to bring peace. Sound like some Game of Thrones stuff, doesn't it? So God didn't create people equally. He created them in his image, which is everybody is all in his image. So, but everyone has a purpose. God created everybody for a purpose. But if you get off the path of that purpose, you're going to get fucked up. For us to be. Yes. Like you're special. And the people watching are special. And the people who watch later are special. But if you go down the path of non-righteousness, you might be here tomorrow and you might not. You may be, So your purpose is not always to be evil and mean and destructive. A world with that type of, energy is a world bound for destruction. So all right, let me finish up this chapter because I got to make moves. All right, chapter 11. Okay, 11:10. Okay, 11:7. But a person from her family will become king of the south and will attack the armies of the king of the north. He will go to the king's strong walled city and will fight and win. He will take their gods, their metal idols, and their valuable things made of silver and gold back to Egypt. Then he will not bother the king of the north for a few years. Next, the king of the north will attack the king of the south, but he will be beaten back to his own country. 11:11. Then the king of the south will become very angry and will march out to fight against the king of the north. Okay, don't this sound like the Confederate? Remember how the North and the South had fights, for slavery and so just think about how everything kind of ties in to because history repeats itself. Until we get it right, history will continue to repeat itself. So some people were meant to be ruled over. Yeah, in order to get the, I guess, some people are meant to lead, and some people are meant to be led. Right? Everybody have a purpose. So some people are meant to be sinful, and some people are meant to be of the holy people. Like God already got a set number of people going. So you might see the purpose. You might see this church going person going faithfully for 20 years straight and fall off the rocker the 21st year. So nothing is not promised. You got to stay faithful. It has to stay unconditional. You can't love God when it's convenient. You can't love yourself when it's convenient. You can't love another person when it's convenient. You can't look for people to do for you all the time and your purpose to be just to receive. No, you have to work for his love, your self-love, and your kids, whoever you choose to bring into into the world. So some people are meant to be ruled over. Yeah, I'm just attacking on other examples. Some people are that's their examples. Just some people mean to be led. Some people are meant to lead. So I mean, when you lead and you leading people, they are being ruled over. You know, just like hey, you know, we're in the United States. We have a president, so he's leading us. Or you can say he rules over us because you know we have laws that if we disrespect the president or do anything that can be construed as a disrespect, we will be accountable for that. So the sons, let me see, 11, 12. The king of the south will then be very proud and will kill thousands of soldiers from the northern army, but he will not continue to be successful. The king of the north will gather another army larger than the first one. After several years, he will attack with a large army and many weapons. In those times, many people will be against the king of the south. Some of your own people who love to fight will turn against the king of the south, thinking it is time for God's promises to come true. But they will fail. The king of the north will come. He will build ramps to the top of the city walls and will capture a strong walled city. The southern army will not have the power to fight back. Even their best soldiers will not be strong enough to stop the northern army. So the king of the north will do whatever he wants. No one will be able to stand against him. He will gain power and control in the beautiful land of Israel. Let me hold up. Tell my Jay, turn that down, please. The king of the north will turn his attention to the cities along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea and will capture them. But a commander will put an end to the pride of the king of the north, turning his pride back on him. After that happens, the king of the north will go back to the strong walled cities in his own country, but he will lose his power. That will be the end of him. The next king of the north will send out a tax collector so he will have plenty of money. In a few years, that ruler will be killed, although he will not die in anger or in a battle. Leading and ruled are two different things. I'm saying, in addition, don't change the word ruled. I guess, but let me rephrase. In addition to be ruled over, people are led to be led and to be, to lead. So it's in addition to being and led. Some people are meant to be ruled over or led or, to be in positions of leadership. So if you feel like, to me, it's tomato. Ruled over, it's a synonym for me, to be led. So to each his own interpretation, but everything is straightforward in the book. Some people are made to be examples of, some people are not of the earth, and here to teach us lessons. So, hey, you probably would think that, for example, if you were in a marriage, a wife is meant to be ruled over, to each his own. Other people might feel like wife should be led and not ruled. Like, hey, you do this, and this is what needs to be done. Where in a biasness, it could be okay. You're leading your wife. You're trying to make her a better person. So, yes. You want me to say yes? Some people are or were meant to be ruled over in this day. They had people, we had, like you think about the Jerusalem and Moses bringing out the people, they were ruled over, but then they were escaped, but they wandered for 40 years, 40 nights because they disobeyed, but they were ruled over. And then, who rules over your heart? God. So tomato still. All right, where we at? 11:16. So the king of the north will do whatever he wants. No one will be able to stand against him. He will gain power and control in the beautiful land of Israel and will have the power to destroy it. The king of the north will decide to use all his power to fight against the king of the south, but The king of the north will decide to use all his power to fight against the king of the south, but he will make a peace agreement with the king of the south. The king of the north will give one of his daughters as a wife to the king of the south so that he can defeat him, but those plans will not succeed or help him. Then the king of the north will turn his attention to the cities along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea and will capture them, but a commander will put an end to the pride of the king of the north, turning his pride back on him. After that happens, the king of the north will go back to the strong walled cities of his own country, but he will lose his power. That will be the end of him. The next king of the north will send out a tax collector. Oh, I read all of that. In a few years, the ruler will be killed, although he will not die in anger or in battle. 1121. The ruler will be followed by a very cruel and hated man who will not have the honor of being from a king's family. He will attack the kingdom when the people feel safe. He will make the power by lying to the people. He will take power by lying to the people. He will sweep away and defeat large and powerful armies, and even a prince who made an agreement. Many nations will make agreements with the cruel and hated ruler, but he will lie to them. Can you warm up my coffee? He will gain much power, but only take the top off. But only a few people will support him. The richest areas will feel safe, but the cruel and the hated ruler will attack them. He will succeed there where his ancestors did not. He will rob the countries he defeats and will give those things to his followers. He will plan to defeat and destroy strong cities, but he will be successful for only a short time.
Can I have something to eat?
Yeah, look up there and yeah. No, pull it out. So let me make you some oatmeal. You just waking up. All right. I thought we were supposed to serve one master. Servant. Okay, now you get to use. Now you get to use two different ones. So okay, ruling over, and serving is two different things. Just like you said, leading and being ruled, serving and being ruled is two different things. So to each his own. That's why I said tomato. All right, get a bowl. Come on, make your oatmeal. All right, let me see. 1125. The very cruel and hated ruler will have a large army that he will use to stir up his strength and courage. He will attack the king of the south. The king of the south will gather a large and powerful army and prepare for war. But the people who are against him will make secret plans. Oh, thank you. Bless you. Yeah, my allergies messing with me too. Those two kings will want to hurt each other. They will sit at the same table and lie to each other, but it will not do either one any good because God has set a time for their end to come. The king of the north will go back to his own country with much wealth. Then he will decide to go against the holy agreement. He will take action and then return to his own country. At the time, the king of the north will attack the king of the south again, but this time he will not be successful as he was before. You serve your master or ruler. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tomato, to each his own. Like I can say that I let a God rules over my palace, or I am led by God to do as he, see fits. So to each his own. All right, 1129. At the right time, the king of the north will attack the king of the south again, but this time he will not be successful as he was before. Ships from the west will come and fight against the king of the north, so he will be afraid. Then he will return and show his anger against the holy agreement. He will be good to those who have stopped obeying the holy agreement. 1131. The king of the north will send his army to make the temple in Jerusalem unclean. They will stop the people from offering the daily sacrifice, and they will set up the destroying terror. The king of the north will tell lies and cause those who have not obeyed God to be ruined. But those who know God and obey him will be strong and fight back. Those who are wise will help the others understand what is happening, but they will be killed with swords or burnt or taken captive or robbed of their homes and possessions. These things will continue for many days. When the wise ones are suffering, they will get a little help, but many who join the wise ones will not help them in their time of need. Some of the wise ones will be killed, but the hard times must come so they can be stronger and pure without false until the time of the end comes. Then at that, and then at the right time, the end will come. The end will come. Do we have earthly masters? That's still to each his own. No, we're about to leave in a minute.
Where are we going?
Can I talk about it when I'm finished?
Sure.
Okay. At the time, what was it called? Do we have earthly masters? Some people have earthly masters. I mean, like, that's why, God is be disappointed because he created those masters, so you understand why they praise him. So some people might feel like, their job is their master, the president is their master, their wife or husband, So be careful what you put out in the energy and what you put out into the air. They put some more water in it. All right, so 11:36. Did I read that? The king who praises himself. All right, so we're gonna read the lesson. Hey Jordan, wait, y'all not gonna do this. Let me finish up. They about to. Jordan, get up off of it. All right, this is last chapter because my kid's ready to roll. Okay, at the time. Chapter 12. At the time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will stand up. There will be a time of much trouble, the worst time since nations have been on earth, but your people will be saved. Everyone whose name is written in God's book will be saved. Many people who have already died will live again. Some of them will wake up to have life forever, but some will wake up to find shame and disgrace forever. The wise people will shine like the brightness of the sky. Those who teach others to live right will shine like stars forever and ever. But you, Daniel, close up the book and seal it. These things will happen at the time of the end. Many people will go here and there to find true knowledge. Then I, Daniel, looked and saw two other men. One was standing on my side of the river, and the other was standing on the far side. The man who was dressed in linen was standing over the water in the river. One of the two men spoke to him and asked, "How long will it be before these amazing things come true?" The man dressed in linen who stood over the water raised his hands toward heaven, and I heard him swear by the name of God who lives forever. It will be for 3.5 years. The power of the holy people will finally be broken, and then all these things will come true. I heard the answer, but I did not really understand. So I asked, "Master, what will happen after all these things come true?" He answered, "Go your way, Daniel. The message is closed up and sealed until the time of the end. Many people will be made clean, pure, and spotless, but the wicked will continue to be wicked. Those wicked people will not understand these things, but the wise will understand them. The daily sacrifice will be stopped. Then after 1,290 days from the time the destroying terror will be set up, those who wait for the end of the 1,335 days will be happy. As for you, Daniel, go your way until the end. You will get your rest, and at the end you will rise to receive your reward." So that is the end of the book of Daniel. All right. That is the end. So y'all, thank y'all for joining me, and we're gonna do some and the question, I love it, and I just want to be clear, like I'm just here to do what I feel my purpose is, to read the Bible, to understand what I see fit, and to read other Bibles, like the Quran and everything, just across all religions, and just apply it to whether in my daily life or to what I believe God wants me to do, and that's for everybody's purpose. I'm not here to tell you this is what this meant and this is what these are just my beliefs, my interpretation. Now, no one's gonna say that you could possibly be right, because we're here to teach each other. We're here to help each other, and we're here to because we all are family, and through Christ and through whatever religion y'all see fit. But there's only one God. So, if you believe, then you believe. If you don't and you cause things into questions, then you have to do more than just listen. You have to get up and seek out. So for me, I'm seeking out the questions. I'm seeking out, hey, there's a person like me in this book. There's a person that I know, or been around in this book, and that I haven't, and that people go through worse things than I think. I think that me going through, being alone is selfish. After reading this book, I know, and I love the questions, and I love because you feeding me. Hell, you've been here, so don't take it like I'm being, mean or rude because I'm not trying to. I just love the questions, but I want you to also don't take my word as the truth. I want you to seek as well, and don't just put your faith in me to provide all the answers for you. Do research as well, okay? Because this is all learning experience and just building a better relationship with God, And if you need someone to call master, then to each his own. But for me, I feel like God has already been in my life since I was little. And just as I got older, and then since I've been celibate, I have just awakened to more of the signs that he's just always been there, And the pain that I went through is only to, share and give back and, have people to join me on my journey, because life is just not about money, sex, whatever. Because anytime I think that I'm in need or I want something, it appears. So that's why my faith is just like not questioned. Like, I can give you one example. My car started acting funny, because my car paid for, so it's like, okay. I like to put off things, but my car started acting funny. So push kind of shove, I parked it, and I'm like, hey, I'll just drive the other car, and so driving the other car, money, I got a deposit in my account, I was like, okay, it's some money. Okay, so where the money coming from? My business occurred. But it's like, damn, I forgot about, I didn't think about, it was like a refund because I ordered some stuff from overseas. But I forgot about it, because it was taking forever to get here because of the epidemic, right? So I ordered something from, and I spent like $400, on the stuff so I ordered, right? So because they couldn't come through with the package because the package was coming from China, it appeared in my account. But I ordered that back in March, so I had just chalked it up, and then, but it's like, okay, now I got the money to fix whatever problem with, my car. But I didn't worry. I just had faith that, like, hey, I can just do this, But so the worry is not so much, it's not as much as having the faith. So that's what I just want everybody to get, that if you really truly have faith that everything happens for a reason and God won't put you through nothing you couldn't handle. Because I mean, like he says, his son Jesus Christ, he went through several non-believers being persecuted on the cross, where now people got emblems, people wearing jewelry with him on the cross, and it's like, okay, for me before I thought that was cool to wear. But now I feel some type of way because I feel like that's my, my brother on the cross, being idolized, But some people might feel like, oh, that's just, a symbol of Jesus dying for our sins. But that's not who I pray to. I pray to God, So it's like you can interpret to each his own. You can feel to each his own. But at the same time, you want to look for clarity. And you're not going to find it on the media or through man. You got to meditate, do some yoga, do some things that's going to center you, because life is going to throw you all sorts of things, and you're going to get tested through your kids, through your job, through everybody, and the devil shows up, but I'm not going to give him that power. When I see him show up, he show up in my animals, in my cats, and my dog, show up in my neighbors, with the garbage man, with shows right on up. When I'm in a good spirit, whatever, I'll be walking my dog, then you'll see about 3 dogs off their leash. To me, I'd be like, that's the devil. He want me to goddamn fuck up these dogs, but it's not the dog's fault. It's for me to choose either the latter or the, positive. So that's why I just said I just do everything. I feel like the devil is in depression. The devil is in anxiety. The devil is in speaking wrong, and doing wrong. All right. So, but you always, God don't want you, know that you're not perfect. But if you're not maliciously trying to incite negativity, like somebody bring up the roast arena, that roast arena can be malicious. It can be construed as malicious, but it's if you inviting that into your, inviting that into your, energy. Like if you're seeking to be malicious, then that's how you're gonna carry that. How do you know anything negative is the devil? To me, anything, because God don't want you to suffer. He don't want you to, um, be hurt or harmed. Because God is love. If God is love, and love supposed to make you feel good, why is it that He's going to put you in a situation that's going to make you harm? And that's why that's the decisions come into place. Like for instance, if I'm trying to stop smoking, that's God. Exactly. There you go. That's just like if, because you always get that intuition. People be like, okay, or you get that feeling, or you get that stuff in the pit of your stomach. To me, I feel like that's all of those times was God. I'm gonna tell you a quick story, and then I'm about to end this because I got to take the kids to do something. So, so I used to take them to Walmart, let them run out through the ass, whatever, mess with them people. But anyway, when I was, I'm gonna say I was about 11, 12. I went to this party. And I'm in Cali now, because I grew up in Cali. So anyway, at a party, and my homeboy ran inside the house because I was, a tomboy. Homeboy ran inside the house. They had just stole this car. He was like, "Come on, let's go for this ride." And this dude that I liked, that I was also cool with. He was in the car too, so he was like, "Come on, what's up? You gonna ride with us?" And I'm like, what he doing in the car? What is that? But I was like, I like him or whatever, but how far would I go? So anyway, but my homeboy the one ran in the party and got me. So I run outside. I see the dude that I like sitting in front of the van. And then I see, the crew because we all had crews. I'm from Vallejo. So we all had like crews depending on the streets. So, so we was like the Sawyer Street gang, whatever. And then we have, so anyway, so my homegirl was in there. So we had like 4 or 5 people in the van, right? And he was like, the car was messed up. So I was like, the car was stolen. So the van was stolen. So I'm walking towards the van. My homeboy already jumped in it. Well, I saw this something appear. And I mean, hand to God, appeared in front of the door and closed it. It was closing the door. Like, you don't want to get in there. Just like, it was like a spirit, just closed the door. But mind you, the door was still open. But what I saw was the door closing. And that was telling me like, don't get in the car. And the dude I like, he was sitting in the front seat. He was like, come on, get in the car. What you hesitating for? You know what I'm saying? What's up? So I'm like, yeah, I know, but they didn't just see what I saw. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah, I mean, I catch you back when y'all get done riding, because y'all crazy, just played it off like, man, y'all crazy. I ain't about to be rolling like that. So anyway, I went back into the party, but I was feeling some type of way because what I saw, I ain't never seen that. I think that was like the second time I had seen, like the spirit, whatever. Anyway, long story short, and they was cops got behind them. They started chasing them. We went on high-speed chase, crossed over the railroad tracks, tried to hit a light. 18-wheeler crashed sent the car spinning, foot right. So we hear about this maybe about 2, 3 in the morning. And the dude that that I was liking, whatever, he ended up dying because his head had filled with so much blood and swollen, so they couldn't release the pressure. My homeboy who ran the party died. The girl, a girl from the street gang, she was just fucked up in the head. Like she had some swelling too, but they were able to catch her, but she wasn't right since after that. But it's just like I think about that, and then like not to say that I was doing a lot of dirt in the beginning, before that. it's like, God never stops trying to show you love or show you a different way. Because even after that incident, maybe when I moved to Atlanta, and I moved to Atlanta when I was like 16, I started driving, being the driver, because, I was good at driving. I learned to drive when I was 9. So it was like, I was always the getaway driver, so I started back up. So being that, God still was with me there, that didn't mean that I didn't choose to do, stay on that path. I started doing some other shit, trying to be gangster, trying to show like, what I learned in Cal, just all of that. And just feeling some type of way, about, living this life, and it came to me again, because I could have got caught up. So it's like God shows up, whether you want to or not. It's just a matter of accepting him and moving forward. But it took me to what, when I turned 36, become a celibate, to really be like, thank you for giving me the opportunity to live and fulfill my purpose. And but God, y'all know Mike thinks it's a joke, but he led me to the roast arena because I was at a low point in my life because I was married for so long, and my husband had ghosted me. So that's you hit a low, and so he picked me up and he was like, do this for a while, get into the roast. So I feel like the roast helped me out of a low point, because I still had kids to think about, I still had me to think about, and I still had to, like, God, that person wasn't for you. I don't care how many years y'all were together, because we were together like 11, 12 years. Like, that's what you wanted. And then he sat me down, and anytime I wanted to cuss a motherfucker out or make him feel some type of way, I would roast. Okay, because I didn't want my kids to ever feel like mommy was trying to belittle their daddy, So I would roast. So people be roasting for different reasons. Those were my reasons. I roasted because I felt that I wasn't going to give him the energy to let him see that I felt like he was wrong. That's for God to do, not me. And God showed me where I went wrong through the whole marriage. Because, mind you, I dreamed of what I wanted. And he was like, okay, if this is what you want. So, yeah. So I had the houses, I had the property, I have the timeshares, I had the cars, the 750s, did it all. But I didn't have God. I didn't even, like, it was like I got I said I wanted a person that didn't have no kids. It was straight up. And I forgot about God in all those years. I had the 2 boys and the girl. And he said, and when my husband ghosted me, or my ex, he brought that all full circle. Okay, you had this lifestyle all these years, and not once did you thank me. You thought you were doing it. And God can show you like that. Now, would I say that he was a jealous God? Would I say that he was being evil? I could say all of those things. I had a homeboy stop smoking and got killed by a tobacco truck. That was God working His mysterious way. You trying to be sarcastic. I'm gonna say that's sarcastic because that's ironic that would happen that way. But I mean, I read a book on the different blood types, and they said people who are blood type O, do better smoking, or longer, live longer. And if they eat certain meats, and they are better, their blood type is better capable of handling things. So it's like to each his own. It's what you read and what you do and how you figure out things. So me saying that, I tell God, like, okay, I love to smoke weed. I feel like I get smarter. I do things, I see shit clearer. And probably because my mama, well, back in their day when I was born, she told me a story. She said they were allowed to smoke in a hospital. And because she was having, I was taking a while to come for him. And she, her, her husband, my dad at the time, took her, to walk around the thing, how they do the little, the rounds, around the property, not the property, circle to try to get you to have the baby, to walk. And it wasn't cutting, like I wasn't moving. So she told me, like, my dad brought her some, something, a little puff, and she took a couple puffs, and I just, everything started contracting, whatever. So I'd be like, because every time I smoke, I get more enlightened, I have more energy, I do more. So to each his own. And then plus I got epilepsy. So it's like, where they couldn't figure out how to stop my seizures, smoking does. But I had to figure out, okay, now recreationally, okay, doing shit on the daily, because that's slowing you the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference between doing it for an illness and doing it where you can't remember shit, you can't do shit, you can't function, and you can't maintain. So it's like, okay, I'm starting to lose the things that I worked so hard to obtain, the or adapt. So we have to look at it like, okay, God didn't say we was wrong for you. What he's saying is that the way you making it a lifestyle is a problem. Okay. Because see, you're laying up, you can't do shit, you don't want to do shit, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to make excuses for shit. And and that's what it was, until I had to sit back and think about, like, do I really want to be a labeled weed head? Do I want to show my kids that, okay, on one aspect, it's okay to smoke, but on another aspect, look what it does to you when you make that the focal point of your life. And that could be construed as the master. We became our master, and not God, because God wants you to be enlightened, but not by other, recreational things. He wants to be your high, So, and then here I am. So everybody has a story to tell. So I'm gonna get these kids out of here, and because like I said, they quarantined, and I just, I feel bad because they don't have to, they can't go outside to play, ride bikes, all of that. And when they do, like the fires now in California, is wreaking havoc on the air. It's just nothing but smoke and ashes in the air. So you got to make do what you do. So if your kids in Walmart and they run back and forth a little bit, don't get too mad at them, because Walmart got an air filter. All right, much love, peace, and soul. All right, let me hit the lid. Thank y'all for stopping by. Many blessings, and peace out.